Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a great day today. I trust that you are. I trust that God's presence is just overwhelming you with his goodness today. You're receiving this video because something cool happened today. Today is the day where we sent out our new draft copy of the Constitution and Bylaws, the very document that between the Bylaws team and the governing board we've been working on and praying over for almost the last 9 months. That's a long time to be looking into this document. I'm very excited about where God is leading us. And so remember that on Sunday evening, February 4th at 5 p.m., all of the church members, we really need you to be at this meeting. It's expected. And anybody who is a part of our congregation and not yet an official member, we want you to come to that meeting so that we can ask questions and dialogue about what this document actually is, why it was written the way that it is, and just be able to have a better grasp of understanding about it. And so as you open up the link that is in your email today, I'm going to forewarn you, this document is 29 pages long. There is a lot of information in there. A lot of it are the legal definitions of who we are, why we exist as a church, our statements on what it means to worship, who the officers are, so that we can have the proper structure in place to fully engage with the mission and vision that God has given to us inside of our society today. I don't think anybody is questioning that to operate as a faith-based organization, the church inside of our society, there's a lot of pressures against it. And so by having this document put into the right way, it frees us up now to be able to do the mission and the ministry that Jesus has called us to. And so there are a couple things in here that I wanted to just answer for you, because I think there are probably some questions that each and every one of us is going to have. And I would like to answer those before we get to February 4th so that you don't just go and pretty much guess and try to figure out what's going on here. So a couple things that I would like to address about what the board is recommending to you and why they put it in there. The first thing that you will notice is that there is a cover page, but on that cover page, it actually has a spot for some signatures on it. And what we wanted to do here was to give a way for people to understand, okay, this is when this happened, so that everybody's copy of the bylaws that we will give out, once these are formally approved, it will say the date that the bylaws were actually accepted, the congregational meeting that was there, who the pastor was, and who the governing board secretary is. And then on each and every page following that, it will have an adopted on this date. I will be honest with you, one of the issues that we have here at the church is there were so many different copies of previous bylaws going around that I'm not positive that we all knew what the current structure was. And then this also just helps to keep people knowing when and where the bylaws were adopted, were there changes that were made. There's actually space in here to actually record which bylaw had a change to it and when it happened and what the congregational vote was. We wanted to be more specific with that. So that's the reason for that. You will notice as you're thumbing through this document that it's written in 3 sections. The first section that you will see is just the general bylaws of the Oconto Gospel Chapel. But friends, we actually get these from the CMA. As a fully accredited church, there was just parts of their documents that we need to adopt. And these first pages actually just talk about who we are, what our values are, who can use our properties, right, to be prevent people that we might not agree with from bringing charges against us. What does it mean to actually have a definition of worship? What are the 2 ordinances that we actually believe and do here between the ordinance of baptism and the Lord's Supper? What does that mean? That first part actually talks about that. But now if you thumb over to page 8, this is something that I think a lot of us are probably going to have some questions on, because this is entitled the Developing Church Bylaws. And so just to let you know, part 2 does not apply to us right now. So it looks like we're going in there that there's a really weird type of governing structure in here. That doesn't apply to us. Let me tell you what a developing church in the CMA actually is. A developing church is a church that needs assistance from the district in order to operate and to grow and to become healthy. So this could refer to a brand new church, or it could refer to a church that has really fallen on some hard times and has shrunk down to the point where they can't operate or accomplish their mission. The district now comes in. And part 2 talks about what does the governing structure look like now when the district has to be involved. Because as the CMA, we're not interested in any of our churches struggling. We want them to grow to a full potential ability to see believers in Jesus Christ go and accomplish the mission of bringing more disciples and making disciples into Jesus' kingdom. And so when you're looking through part 2, that does not apply to us, okay? The board wanted to put it in there so that we had a document that covered everything because we needed to adopt that part in order to continue to move on, okay? So just letting everybody know, because I know it happened at a board meeting one time where somebody said, so what's this? Now the district is telling us what to do. No, not by any stretch. Part 2 only applies when we are either seeing a church start off or one that needs help so that it doesn't die. And that's that part. So the part that applies to us is section 3. This is the real one that we're looking at. This is the part where we were able to express a lot of how we do things on a local level. How many people are on our governing board? What does it mean to be an elder? How do we choose a pastor? What are the doctrines that we stand on? How do we actually conduct ourselves in a legal way so that we can both, as Romans 13 would, submit to the governing authorities over us and honor God at the same time? Those things are all listed in there. So make sure to check that out. What are the duties of the officers who are elected? How does the annual meeting take place? When and where? All these type of things. So check that part out. It'll be good for you. One thing that was added is that the church is proposing that we adopt a conflict of interest policy as an appendix 2 in this section. Basically, a conflict of interest policy. What that means is that anybody who is in ministry leadership, pastor, governing board members, we're actually required to sign a conflict of interest waiver where we say, hey, these are different avenues that we might have relationships with inside of the church that could be of a financial benefit to us. And so we're supposed to disclose them and to remove ourselves from any decisions about them. It just goes to help us say that we are doing everything above board. We want to be transparent with our congregation. And so that's when that will actually take place. Every officer of the church is going to have to sign a conflict of interest statement in that type of regard. So that's in there. You will also notice that there are some blank pages inside of the document. No, you are not missing anything. Nothing was removed for us. The bylaws team, as well as the governing board, wanted to actually put some empty pages in there so that we could either record new bylaws without having to move everything around and reformat everything. But also we wanted to make sure that we kept everything kind of on the same page numbers so that we can avoid people saying, well, I don't have this part of my bylaws. It's just another way of us trying to make sure that we are communicating effectively in there. There is also a page in there that you will see that says that it is Appendix 1, which is a record of changes. Basically, what we're asking, even just future pastors, boards, congregations of O'Connell Gospel Chapel to do is we want them to know why we either changed a bylaw, established a new one, and stuff like that. So we would record the old version, we would record the new version, the meeting that it came in, so that people would have an understanding of why they actually made these changes all those years ago, instead of us trying to have to guess. And so that's a lot, I know right now, but I hope the main thing is just make sure you understand this. Part 2 does not apply to us. All right, we just put it in there because we needed to make sure that it was in there to satisfy alliance requirements in that way. Because, if we ever decide to plant a church, that church would be under the developing church's bylaws. And so it's good for us to kind of know what's going on there. So if you do have any questions, and you want to ask them of me before the meeting, feel free to reach out. You can reach out to me at my email, which is just located at the bottom of this video. Call the church office, talk to me at church, whatever you want. Talk to any of the board members. They will have answers to these questions as well. You are more than welcome to bring questions. We will do a question and answer session on February 4th at that meeting. And I will sit up here and answer questions until everyone understands what's going on. And that if the Lord leads us to take a vote that night, we will. If he leads us to go home and pray about it more, we will do that as well. But make sure Sunday evening, February 4th, 5 p.m. in the sanctuary. If you know of somebody who needs a print copy of this, make sure to reach out to the church office so that Barb can get those to you. Trusting that you are going to just see God work in some amazing ways as we finalize this structure so that we really can press forward with the ministry that God has called us to do. Enjoy the day. I look forward to seeing you all this weekend, if not sooner. Have a great day.